Today, an FDA approval in renal cell carcinoma, European approvals in multiple myeloma and melanoma, and highlights from the 2016 AUA Annual Meeting. Welcome to Enclave News Network. I'm Gina Columbus. In kidney cancer, the combination of lenvatinib and everolimus was approved by the FDA as a treatment for patients with advanced renal cell carcinoma following prior anti-angiogenic therapy. The decision was based on the Phase 2 trial known as Study 205, in which the combination reduced the risk of progression or death by 63% compared with everolimus alone. The median PFS was improved by 9.1 months with the combination versus single-agent therapy. There was a 33% reduction in the risk of death with the combination versus everolimus alone. Additionally, the median OS with the combination was 25.5 months compared with 15.4 months with everolimus alone. The ORR with the lenvatinib combination was 37% versus 6% with everolimus alone. One patient in the combination arm experienced a complete response, while no patients experienced a CR with everolimus alone. In a statement, Dr. Robert Matzer of Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center said, "Lenvatinib plus everolimus is the first and only FDA-approved regimen that successfully combines treatments that employ tyrosine kinase and mTOR inhibition, the primary targets of advanced RCC treatment for the past decade. This combination regimen led to enhanced efficacy and helped patients with advanced RCC live longer without disease progression or death than those treated with everolimus alone. These noteworthy findings advanced the treatment paradigm for this patient population." The RCC indication is the second for lenvatinib. An application for this combination is also being considered by European regulatory agencies. The European Commission has approved the combination of ipilimumab and nivolumab for patients with unresectable or metastatic melanoma, regardless of BRAF status. The approval was based on data from the CheckMate 069 and 067 studies, in which the combination significantly improved objective response rates and progression-free survival versus ipilimumab monotherapy across both studies. In the three-arm CheckMate 067 study, the median PFS was 11.5 months for the combination, compared with 6.9 and 2.9 months for nivolumab and ipilimumab monotherapy, respectively. The risk of progression was reduced by 58% with the two-drug regimen. The Phase 2 CheckMate 069 trial randomized patients to ipilimumab plus nivolumab or ipilimumab plus placebo. This combination reduced the risk of progression or death by 60% versus ipilimumab alone. Overall response rates were found to be independent of PD-L1 status with the combination. The approval marks the first immunotherapy combination available in the European Union. Prior to this approval, nivolumab as a single agent was approved for patients with advanced melanoma. In a statement, Dr. James Larkin of the Royal Marsden said, "Historically, advanced melanoma has been a very difficult to treat disease. Now with this approval, patients in Europe will have a treatment option combining two immuno-oncology therapies, Opdivo and Yervoy, which in a Phase 3 randomized trial has shown its ability to deliver superior efficacy versus Yervoy monotherapy in progression-free survival and response. This is truly good news for healthcare providers and the patients they treat, as it represents an important new treatment option with the potential for improved outcomes." In multiple myeloma, the European Commission approved elotuzumab in combination with lenalidomide and dexamethasone for patients following progression on at least one prior therapy. This decision was based on data from the Phase 3 ELOQUENT-2 trial, in which the 3-year progression-free survival rate with the elotuzumab combination was 23% versus 15% with lenalidomide and dexamethasone alone. The reduction in the risk of death with elotuzumab was found to be 23% in an interim overall survival analysis, but this was determined to be non-statistically significant. The final survival analysis is still pending. Additionally, the overall response rate with elotuzumab was 78.5% versus 65.5% in the control group. The most common grade 3-4 adverse events reported in the elotuzumab arm included lymphopenia, pneumonia, fatigue, diarrhea, and deep vein thrombosis. The 2016 AUA Annual Meeting took place May 6 through 10th in San Diego, California, highlighting exciting research in genitourinary malignancies. Updated findings presented from the landmark PLCO screening trial show that 80% of the control group reported at least one PSA test during the trial. Additionally, more than half had PSA assessments within the year prior to enrollment, and 70% reported having a PSA test in the 2 years prior to joining the trial's control group. The high rate of PSA testing in the control arm suggests meaningful comparisons with the intervention group are impossible, according to the analysis of data reported at the meeting. The findings have major implications, since previous data from this trial was significant in the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force recommendation against PSA screening. A second study presented during the meeting demonstrated the early promise of a liquid formulation of the toll-like receptor 7 agonist imiquimod, known as TMX-101, in patients with non-muscle invasive bladder cancer. Findings show that the agent appeared safe and had preliminary clinical activity, including the potential to induce an immune response. It was found that 4 of 10 evaluable patients in a small trial had negative cytology and cystoscopy 6 weeks after intravesical instillation of TMX-101. In a poster presentation at the meeting, lead study author Dr. Nicholas M. Donnan of UCLA and colleagues stated, TMX-101 is safe and well tolerated. No patients required dose reductions or treatment discontinuation. Treatment-related adverse events were common, but the majority were grade 1 or 2, and the majority were limited to the genitourinary tract. Clinical activity is suggested by the detectable increases in cytokines following treatment and the small number of responding patients. Finally, prospective study results showed that treatment with unilateral high-intensity focused ultrasound led to eradication of all clinically significant cancer in the treated lobe for 94% of patients with early prostate cancer. HIFU resulted in complete ablation of all cancer in the treated lobe for 87 of 101 cases and absence of any cancer in the whole prostate in 68 cases. At a 2-year follow-up, 89% of patients remained alive without radical therapy. Nearly 100% of patients had resolution of urinary incontinence at 12 months, while almost 80% of men had preserved erectile function. These findings demonstrate an intermediate role for HIFU in low and intermediate risk prostate cancer, as the benefits of radical therapies are still unknown, and active surveillance does not completely address men's needs in this setting. That's all for today. Thank you for watching Enclave News Network. I'm Gina Columbus.